кто-то не хочет работать и хочет уйти, никто никого не будет гнобить.
Imagine this. You walk into work after 20 years on the job. Same building, same hallway, same routine. But your locker is empty, your tools are gone, and on your desk, there is only a paper. No meeting, no warning, no pay. Just one sentence. Your contract is over. Go home. This is not a scene from the Great Depression. This is Belarus right now. While the world watches explosions in Ukraine, another disaster is happening just next door. Quieter, slower, but just as bad. Alexander Lukashenko promised stability. He promised order. He promised jobs. Instead, Belarus is bleeding workers. People are being fired faster than ever before. Factories are shrinking. Entire towns are emptying out. And the man in charge is not fixing it. He is selling what is left of the country to Vladimir Putin. For decades, life in Belarus followed a simple deal: no political freedom. But you had a job. You had a salary. You had stability. Now that deal is broken. You might be thinking, is it really that bad? The silence coming from Belarus is not peace. It is the silence of an economy that has stopped breathing. Even government numbers now admit it. More people are being fired than hired, month after month. The big factories Lukashenko loved to show off? They are cutting workers like dead branches in winter. And when the job disappears in Belarus, something darker begins. Because in Belarus, being unemployed is not just dangerous, it is illegal. There is a special punishment for it, a fine for being a social parasite. You lose your job. Then the state punishes you for losing it. This is not just economics anymore. This is a trap. And while workers fall into that trap, something much larger is happening behind them. Because as the people of Belarus lose their jobs, the country itself is being absorbed. Russia did not need to invade Belarus. There were no columns of tanks crossing the border. No dramatic takeover. Because Russia already owns it. Russian troops now move through Belarus like it is their own territory. Missile systems are parked there. Military bases are shared. Plans for war are coordinated from Belarusian land. According to Western analysts, Belarus is now fully locked inside Russia's war strategy against Ukraine. Alexander Lukashenko is no longer acting like a president. He behaves like a regional governor. He must ask Moscow for loans just to pay the police, the same police who protect him from his own people. Why doesn't he resist? Because he burned every bridge to the West in 2020. That was the year of the stolen election, the mass protests, the brutal arrests, the torture. From that moment on, Lukashenko had only one protector left: Vladimir Putin. And when you depend on one man for survival, you don't say no to him. That is when the next strange alliance begins. Belarus starts moving closer to North Korea, a country isolated, sanctioned, locked away from the world. Now Belarus is joining the same club. Closed borders, single master, political prisoners, total control. This is why analysts are now calling Belarus Europe's North Korea. But behind these labels are real people, real families, real fear. People whisper in their own kitchens. They erase messages before leaving home. A single post online can mean years in prison. And as this fear spreads across society, the economy collapses even faster. Because a country ruled by fear cannot grow. And the collapse that starts inside the factories is now spreading to the borders. Belarus is landlocked. It has only one real path to Western money, through Poland and Lithuania, and Lukashenko is destroying that path with his own hands. Thousands of trucks are now stuck at the border. Food is rotting. Contracts are canceled. Businesses are collapsing. Why? Because Lukashenko is using migrants as pressure weapons. Desperate people are pushed toward the EU border, not as refugees, as tools. The goal is simple: create crisis, force negotiation, demand sanctions relief. But the strategy backfires. Instead of opening doors, the EU builds walls. Lithuania warns, if this continues, the border will close again, completely. For Belarus, that is economic suffocation. No ports, no sea access, no Western trade. Each closed gate tightens the grip around the economy. And while trucks freeze at the border, the future brains of the country are already gone. Belarus once had something rare in Eastern Europe. A real digital economy. Apps used across the world were built there. Programmers, engineers, startup founders. It was the one sector that didn't depend on Moscow. Now it is being erased. IT offices are raided. Internet blackouts are common. People are arrested for group chats. So they leave. More than 400,000 people have fled. Not the old, not the weak, the skilled, the coders, the engineers, the builders of tomorrow. They take their ideas to Poland, to Lithuania, to Georgia, and Belarus is left with factories that can't sell anything, tractors with no buyers, warehouses full of unsold machines. The digital economy that could have saved the country is now building wealth for someone else. This is not just decline, this is self-destruction. And yet, with the economy collapsing and the youth disappearing, Lukashenko still claims victory. He stages an election. With the economy collapsing and young people fleeing, Lukashenko does the only thing he knows. He stages an election. No real opponents, no international observers, no real counting, just cameras, flags, and a script written inside the presidential palace. Western governments call it a sham. But inside Belarus, people already know the truth. They remember 2020. They remember the streets full of protesters. They remember the beatings, the prison vans, the screams. Today, more than 1,000 political prisoners are still locked inside Belarusian jails. Some have no contact with family. Some are denied medical care. Some simply disappear. Even a small action can be enough. A message online, a like, a photo. Fear controls daily life. People stop planning. They stop spending. They stop trusting. A nation that stops dreaming also stops growing. And as fear crushes the inside of the country, something unexpected begins to happen on the outside. China turns away. Belarus was once supposed to be China's gateway into Europe. A massive industrial zone near Minsk was built with Chinese money. It was meant to connect Chinese factories to European markets. That plan is now collapsing. Borders are unstable. Routes are blocked. Trade is unreliable. China values one thing above all else: stability. Lukashenko offers chaos. Reports now show that China is quietly shifting its trade routes around Belarus. The factories remain, but the orders vanish. Belarus has now lost the West, and it is losing the East. Inside the country, fear rules. At the borders, trade dies. Above it all, Moscow tightens its grip. The mass layoffs that began this story were only the first warning. As Russia sinks deeper into war, it will pull Belarus down with it. No safety net, no backup plan, no escape route. Lukashenko believes he can survive by clinging to Vladimir Putin. But history shows what happens to leaders who depend on collapsing empires. Belarus is not just becoming isolated, it is becoming trapped between dictatorship at home and dependence abroad. And now the question is no longer just about economics or power. It is about survival. What do you think? Can the people of Belarus ever take their country back? Or has Moscow's grip already become permanent? Leave your thoughts in the comments.